Down the left-hand side goes Chamberlain, cleared away by Appiah, and Maidstone United back into fourth in the National League South. Taunton stay in the drop zone. Final score here, Taunton Town 0, Maidstone United 1, and relief for the Stones there to get back to winning ways and have their unbeaten run extended to 6, John. 3 points.
That was just looking at the finish, the final whistle there was like a huge kind of like howl of relief from the Maidstone players that kind of belies what the last 90 minutes have been about, and at the same time a lot of the Taunton players were kind of down on their knees, but that's reflective of the last kind of 5 minutes of the game and not the previous 80 or 90 that we saw.
Indeed, and as the collective huddles and appreciations for the small number of fans from both sides this evening, and as the Maidstone players will make their way to our left hand side to applaud the Maidstone contingent who were down here or along here tonight. Stern wanting a handshake with Cheers and Olim there and an embrace. I mean, Taunton might not have had the quality in front of goal tonight, John, but in terms of their endeavour, they've certainly got enough about them to still potentially stay up this season, and not just numbers and games wise, because like I said on air right at the end, they only need a point to put Eastbourne back into this because their goal difference is slightly better. It's not like they've got hammered 5-0 by the Stones tonight. They only lost 1-0. Maidstone should and could yet again have scored more, but Taunton definitely got enough about them this season to stay up. We've said that about a lot of the sides we've played down the bottom so far, though.
Yeah, I think so. I think Taunton will have other days or other nights between now and the end of the season, and they've got bigger fights that they've got on their hands at the moment to kind of get through their fixtures. But a positive from them was what we saw on the pitch in the last 5 or 10 minutes. I would ask, as a supporter, that you'd perhaps like to see them do a little bit more than that rather than the last 10 minutes. From a Maidstone perspective, we're in a groove now. I think we kind of found a groove after the FA Cup. We know what kind of side's going to be put out. We know the way we're going to play. Taunton didn't give us the toughest test. I think we were the better side throughout. But I'd like to see, I don't want us kind of be in a position again where we were against Welling, really. But I think we're in a good groove and pushing into for a playoff run-in.
6 unbeaten now in the league as Taunton trudge off into their away home dressing room, something they might have to get used to the next fortnight or so of this season, depending on how Wordsworth Drive holds up. An embrace with George and a few of his players, and probably a personal handshake for all 10-15 Maidstone fans on that side, and the other 5 or 10 on the other side of the goal mouth. It was, Taunton did have some chances during that game, probably more so in the second half and certainly in stoppage time. I mean, Tanger had that shot that he dragged wide on the right hand side after 20 minutes. Rush rounded the keeper about 10 minutes before half time and fired wide. That was a mistaken pass back from one of the Taunton defenders. Tanger had a header from Cheese Cross at the start of the second half down into the ground. Rush at a near post challenge on Dan Ball that added to the stoppage time that we had 6 minutes of in the end. Mo File had a volley over the bar 2 or 3 minutes before that goal went in, and that goal, have we come up with a word in English yet, or even Portuguese potentially, like we said on air, for that technique on that finish? It's sort of like a side scissor kick from Gurung's chip, and he's just managed to sort of send it on its way into the roof of the net, and it's a stunning finish from a striker who's getting back to his red hot form again, John.
Yeah, it's an improvisation. I think the ball was behind him. I might have called this completely wrong, but it looked like the ball was behind him, and he's kind of used his leg kind of halfway up to kind of drag the ball back forward and finish instinctively. But I said throughout that the core of this side that did take us on their fantastic FA Cup run are still the core of this side now, and we've now got like a post FA Cup run side here that I think should be good enough to beat most teams in this division. We showed it when we played Yeovil that we're probably one of the best sides in this division. It does, wouldn't say it concerns me, but we're on top in a lot of games that we should be winning more than 1-0, and I just think as we go into a playoff and we perhaps, I don't know, maybe dominate a game, that we should be putting a game to bed earlier, otherwise we'll get caught out.
We'd certainly want things to be a bit more comfortable. We don't need a 5-1 away win at Eastbourne every game, but certainly more than 1-0 would be appreciated, George and the boys.